Stop putting things off. Go get it tonight. What can you do now to make your life better tomorrow? Hey everybody, this is G. Kelly Dixon here. What I'm doing today is I'm giving you guys the 5 mistakes that most people make when getting into real estate. Okay, these are newbie mistakes that I definitely want to make sure you guys avoid when jumping into a real estate transaction. Okay, if you learn these and listen to these, it'll save you a lot of heartache and headache. And trust me, the only reason I'm able to tell you is because I've done every one of these things myself. Don't make the same mistake I did. The first thing that I want to make sure you guys fully understand. We're in a business to make money, okay? We do not buy at market value. That is a huge mistake. We always want to make money when we acquire property, all right? And this way we create equity, and it brings me into my next point. We don't buy cash flow, we buy equity. Cash flow means nothing, an equation or a way to evaluate a property. Here's why. The more money you put down on a property, the more it cash flows. So if you buy a property at $200,000, if I put down $200,000, then I'm going to cash flow very well, right? Because I don't have a mortgage payment. If I mortgage or I get a loan for $200,000 to buy that property, I may not cash flow as well. Did the property change at all? There is absolutely no difference in the property, but there's a huge difference in the cash flow in both equations. What we buy is equity. That's the name of the game. The only way you get in trouble in real estate is if you have a property and you cannot sell it at a profit. As long as you have equity, you'll always be able to sell a property even at a profit. So even if you make a mistake, even if the cash flow isn't what you think it is, you can still sell it and make money. The issue comes when you owe more than the property is worth. Then you have an issue. So again, cash flow is just a reflection of how much money we've put down on the property, and we do evaluate it, but the main thing that we're buying is equity, and you're going to make millions off of equity. Okay, cash flow is just a plus, but it's equity that's going to get you rich. Third thing, most people when they start out, they don't account for all the expenses. Owning a property requires a ton of things that you need to pay attention to. The first thing is when you buy a property, you have expenses at closing. This thing called closing costs. So you always want to count that into your return. You may come to the table and think, well, I'm getting a loan. They're loaning me 80% of the transaction. I only have to bring 20% of the purchase price. No, you have closing costs. There are recording taxes that you have to pay. You have to pay your lawyer. There are title expenses that you have to pay. There are title insurance that you're going to need. And a group of other expenses that come together, and we group them together, and we call them closing costs. So you have to understand that. The second thing is that when you evaluate a property, you want to make sure that you fully understand what the income and the expenses are. Just because you have mortgage and taxes, those are expenses that you can see right now. But there's a thing called maintenance. What happens if a hole becomes in the roof? Obviously you have insurance. What if the doorknobs break? What if the boiler goes down? So all these other expenses that could potentially arise, you want to make sure that you account for them. And you want to put money away or aside so that as these expenses come up, that you already have money tucked away to handle them. That's extremely important in this business. Okay, you also have legal. Okay, you may have to evict a tenant. And there may be months that you now collect income from that particular property. So you want to make sure that you have enough money aside to cover legal expenses as well. Okay, so these are other expenses that come about that people may or may not necessarily account for, but these are things that you definitely want to be able to pay attention to. Okay, you may have snow removal. I'm in the Northeast. That's a huge expense. You may have landscaping, depending on the type of property that you own. So these are other expenses. You may have property management fees. And you need to understand how your property manager is charging you. There are other expenses that you want to make sure you account for, and you want to properly prepare it as they come about. Don't just, you get your rents and you go have a party. You want to make sure that you have enough money inside to account for the expenses. With all that being said, you may feel that, oh my goodness, this is too much, I have a lot to learn, and you're afraid to take action because you know that all these things you need to account for. So what I'm telling you now is, even everything that I just said, don't be scared to get going. I told you that every mistake that I just said, I made myself. I'm still here and I'm doing very well in real estate. It's just part of the process. You can't be afraid to make a mistake if you want to be in this industry or any industry. You're going to make mistakes. It's just part of life. We have to live with that. We have to be able to move forward, and we have to be able to learn from our mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. You can talk about being perfect or dot your I's, cross your T's, do everything right, and there's still going to be things that you do wrong. There's things that I still do wrong to this day, and I look back and I go, I could have did that better, or we're going to clean this up next time and do it like this. As you continue to grow and you continue to try new things, you're naturally going to be able to make mistakes. Embrace them. They're part of learning. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. Some of you have been at a job 30 years. You can do it with your eyes closed. You never make a mistake. Is that exciting? It's not. Okay, excitement is, guess what? I'm trying something new. It may not be perfect the first time, but I'm still going out there to do it. And I want you guys to continue to pursue your dreams and make sure that you're not scared of what could potentially happen. Either way, you'll learn from it. You'll be bigger and better for attempting to do it. The last thing, a lot of people, because of that, they don't take action. You can be perfect. You can draw up the perfect script. We have to take action. Please, you will never achieve anything if you don't take action. The analysis paralysis will kill you. Okay? You're intelligent. Most of you. I'm being honest. Right? All jokes aside, you know that you've gotten to a certain place in life because of your intellect and your intelligence. Okay? You have the ability to learn. We're not much different as humans. If you look at the Olympics, the slowest guy and the fastest guy is like a 0.2 of a second or a 1/10 of a second difference. Like, it's extremely close. You're not that far off. You learn your ABCs, you learn how to talk, you learn how to dress yourself, you learn how to wash up, you learn how to go to a job, you learn how to speak a language. So we're not that much different. Some may take longer to learn, but that's okay. The main thing is that you have the ability and the courage to go out there and take action. Don't procrastinate. Stop putting things off. Go get it tonight. What can you do now to make your life better tomorrow? Always take that mindset with you. And stay ambitious, stay hungry. G. Kelly Dixon, Mogul Ambition, out.